Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and welcome back to the SPL. This is a VGC draft league featuring 20 prominent content creators across singles as well as VGC. This is going to be a mega upload featuring 3 different weeks of battles, weeks 6, 7, and 8 of the regular season of the SPL. First of all, my apologies because this is going up way later than I initially would have liked, but life has just gotten really hectic for me in recent weeks, but I wanted to make sure that the battles were still uploaded so that you all got a chance to see them. Of course, this is going to be a longer video, so feel free to skip around if you want to check out specific battles, and as always, there will be some pre-battle commentary as well on the team matchup and how I'm approaching it. But thank you so much, as always, for joining and for supporting the Draft League content, and yeah, hope you enjoyed 3 different weeks worth of battles in this one. So coming into this week, we're actually tied for first place in the league, but there are 7 teams with a 4-1 record, and as you can see, things are so close, right? It's like I'm only in this position because of my tiebreakers. The way it works, by the way, is if you win a set 2-0, you get like more points than winning a set 2-1, and if you win or lose 1-2, you get a point versus not getting any points if you lose 0-2. So 0-2 losses basically not great, 2-0 wins very good, and so I've had 3 2-0 wins, which has been great, 1-2-1 win, and 1-1-2 loss. So as you can see, I have a slightly higher tiebreaker, but things in the standings can move so quickly. You can literally jump up so many places with just a single win or drop so many places with just a single loss. And so, yeah, I think like definitely I found my footing in the league so far, but I think that there's still a lot to improve on. And I want to just get sharper in these last couple of weeks as we move into the playoffs as well. So secured a spot in the playoffs after last week. We still have 3 weeks left in the regular season. Getting a top 4 spot means getting a bye for the first round of playoffs, which would be really, really nice. So we'll see how that goes, but we still have some tough opponents ahead of us, especially this week. We're playing Clover. He's 2-3, but I think he's much stronger than his record indicates, and in my opinion, he probably has the scariest draft I've played against so far for my team specifically. So coming into this week, I think this actually might be the worst matchup for us in the league because Spectrier, which is my MVP, is nearly unbringable in this matchup, right? Like there's Ursaluna, Blood Moon, and Furigraph. There's Murkrow, there's Scraggy, there's Brute Bonnet. Spectrier is just first of all threatened by a ton, and I also can't do a ton of damage, and so that doesn't feel great, right? There's also Furigraph, which of course blocks priority moves from Grimmsnarl. There's the threat of Murkrow, Ursaluna, Murkrow, Typhlosion, and there's also the threat of Trick Room from Furigraph plus Glastrier. And so, yeah, I think I really have to lean into Ursaluna, Tauros, and Enamorus for damage here. And so the idea behind the team this week is I've got Swords Dance on Ursaluna, so if I get a Swords Dance off with Water Terra, I should be able to wall Glastrier, and I should be able to function pretty well under Trick Room. I've got Steel Terra, Calm Mind, Cresselia, which is basically a way to potentially outbulk the Ursaluna. If I go Grim Cresselia into Ursaluna and you're a standard Life Orb set, for example, I can just Light Screen, Calm Mind, Steel Terra, and then you're just not doing a lot of damage with Hyper Voice or Blood Moon, and I'm of course immune to Earth Power as well. Grimmsnarl, by the way, I'm still running Sucker Punch here despite Furigraph existing on Clover's team. This covers for a Typhlosion lead option where I can just Sucker Punch immediately into Typhlosion and potentially catch it off guard. I've got Fighting Terra, Paldean, Tauros here with Close Combat. The idea behind this is to just burst with damage immediately. I've got Wo-Chan here with Ghost Terra, Pollen Puff, Giga Drain, Leech Seed, and Leftovers. This Wo-Chan is specifically designed to beat Glastrier, specifically Iron Defense Body Press Glastrier, which is something that I've seen him run in previous weeks, and I think that actually is pretty strong into my team, and so with this Ghost Terra set, I at least covered for something that I know Clover has run with before. And finally, I've got Assault Vest Enamorus, which I think should be pretty valuable into picks like Typhlosion as well as Ursaluna, and I'm running Earth Power, which covers for Typhlosion, so I can go Water Terra, Earth Power in case Typhlosion is led, and I've also got Focus Blast for the Ursaluna. I think the main tricky thing this week is figuring out the speed stats, right? Like I think opting for speed in Ursaluna as well as Enamorus could be valuable to actually outpace Ursaluna on the opposing side outside of, Trick Room. I just don't know how much speed any of his Pokemon are going to run because he can operate under Trick Room as well as Tailwind. So by going for slower sets, it means at least, hey, if I set up Trick Room, I should know that my Ursaluna and Enamorus will outpace you under Trick Room. But yeah, I think with the inability to really bring Spectrier here definitely hurts a little bit. So I'm going to have to rely a little bit more on Ursaluna, Enamorus, and Tauros to do the heavy lifting in terms of damage. Wo-Chan to deal with the potential Glastrier, Cresselia to deal with Ursaluna, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so Murkrow has actually been dropped here. We've got Scraggy, Rotom Wash. It's Grass Terra, Ursaluna. So not super offensive normal Terra. Brute Bonnet, and Poison Terra, Glastrier. So Scraggy plus Typhlosion, Scraggy plus the Ursaluna was definitely a lead that I had potentially anticipated. The idea is I think we can lead Paldean Tauros here, plus Enamorous. I'm trying to deduce like what kind of sets they are based on the Terras. It could be Clear Amulet, Poison Terra, Glastrier. So then the question is what I want in the back. I think like Cressler Saluna is a natural back two. My problem with Grim here is it's a little bit exposed by a turn 1 fake out from the Scraggy. And I actually thought about Covert Cloak on Grim to actually get around it, but I ended up not going with it. I think Wo-Chan actually has value here as well. But I'm gonna opt into this. This gives me pretty good options into most combos, I think. And then like Cressler Saluna is always just such a good late game option. So, of course, with draft, a lot of what I want to do is obviously win game 1, but also try to like get as much information out as possible. And Murkrow being dropped here is actually really interesting. So no Tailwind option, which makes sense. I actually thought Farigiraf would definitely come out in this matchup, but it's going to be Scraggy or Saluna. Okay. So obviously fake out pressure turn 1 here. You could fake out into Tauros. You could fake out into Enamorous. One of the upsides of this Enamorous is having that Draining Kiss into Scraggy, so I can soak up damage from Ursaluna and heal back. This is going to be a tankier Ursaluna, right? It is Grass Terra. It could still obviously Blood Moon. Question is on turn 1, where do you want to launch that fake out into? I could switch Tauros out to reset this Intimidate. Go out into Cresselia right now. I wouldn't be surprised if Fake Out actually goes into the Enamorous, though. So the question here is on turn 1, do I want to potentially take a risk and just attack here? Especially because I know I've got the Focus Sash here. I think it's more likely Fake Out goes into Enamorous. But I do risk something like Fake Out plus Blood Moon immediately. Tauros is also valuable for Glastrier, but I don't really have something I love switching into. I'm honestly kind of down to just close combat here on turn 1. And Draining Kiss into Scraggy. I do have that Focus Blast as well. Okay, he is just going to fake out into Tauros. Calm Mind Ursa. Very cool. Okay. Well, that is good information. Focus Sash Scraggy. Yeah. This probably Terra's now, right? Terra Grass. One of the ways to deal with the special defense boosts is to simply utilize Ursaluna under Trick Room. I can also switch Tauros out into Cress. And then angle to set up Trick Room. And then get Ursaluna out under Trick Room. I just think this kind of has to Terra here right now, personally. We'll see if they do. Okay, I can switch in Cress here. I don't know if I want to reveal the Focus Blast yet. It might be leftovers. Okay, I'm down to go for the Scraggy here. Calm Mind Grass Terra is really cool, though. I like that a lot from his end. Scraggy switches, okay. Into Glastrier. And there's the Grass Terra commit, yeah. I think we can angle to set up Trick Room right now. My main question is the Terra on the Glastrier. Sorry, not the Terra, the speed as well as the item. Because I can switch into Tauros pretty easily this next turn. It is going to actually be the Blood Moon here into the Tauros slot. So setting up Trick Room actually is going to be pretty difficult now that that's been committed. Is that Assault Vest Glastrier? Let's see. Glastrier. Enamorous. I'm pretty sure that's Assault Vest. And we may have gotten a high roll, but yeah, I don't know. That looks like AV to me. And that switch makes sense in the context of AV as well. I have Water Terra here. The question is whether or not I actually want to go for it. You can't Blood Moon me again. It might just be like another Calm Mind coming out from Ursaluna right now. I'm going to try to Trick Room. I don't think I actually get to get it off, but I'll try. Switch in Tauros. Let's see. I'm pretty sure... Yeah, it's not Clear Amulet. Okay. It's Hyper Voice. Okay, so Calm Mind, Blood Moon, Hyper Voice, Earth Power. Presumably no Protect on the Ursaluna. So, okay. No Protect Ursa, question mark. Could be Earth Power. Yeah, what I could have done in this game was just launch Focus Blast turn 1 into the Ursa. This is a really smart Ursaluna set, though. I think that with Grass Terror as well, yeah, it's very, very clever. Protect on this is kind of obvious, but having Ursaluna outside of Trick Room is no bueno for us. Let's see. I also don't want to reveal more information if I don't have to right now. Obviously, he can just +1 Blood Moon into either slot. Yeah, I really don't want to... Because I don't think I can win this game, actually, after that Hyper Voice. That's a really strong Hyper Voice there. Yeah, so I don't want to reveal this. Yeah, I'll just go Moonblast. I think there's a chance he just Blood Moons Enamorous here. I'm just going to Protect here. I actually can't see a way to win this game, actually. This Calm Mindset is really good. Yep, Blood Moon into me. Well, that's good to know. I can survive on 1 HP on that. Also confirms Enamorous is faster. That's a ton of damage onto Ursa, by the way, with Moonblast. If I actually just go Focus Blast, I'm pretty sure I KO that thing on turn 1. So I think that was probably the move in this one. Ursaluna. Blood Moon. Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of damage from Moonblast. Kill differential also does matter. So I'm going to Terra here, go for Facade, try to get a knockout here onto Glastrier, because I know you can protect Ursa, but you can't protect Glastrier. But yeah, I'm thinking of just, like, I could lead the same thing, honestly, and just rip Focus Blast instead on turn 1. The problem with this is I can obviously miss into the Ursaluna. He also didn't Terra on turn 1. Focus Blast is just a knockout even on, like, the bulkiest stuff. Oh, actually, he would get a special defense boost first, right? Because he's faster. But it'd still do a ton of damage, enough where I should be able to finish it off with the... Should be able to finish it off with the Tauros, I think, with fighting Terra close combat. So the thing is, do I want to lead the same thing? I think in this game, the Ursaluna just got way too much damage on the switches. Like, I should have actually just angled for free switch-ins rather than, like, taking such a powerful... such powerful attacks, basically, right? Switching Cresselia in, no good. And then switching the Tauros in, also not great. In my head, I had conditioned it thinking this Ursaluna was going to be Calm Mind, Blood Moon, Earth Power, Protect, but it might not be... It might still have Protect, it might not be running Earth Power. I could consider leading Cresselia now. Because with Cresselia, I can angle to set up Trick Room basically immediately. I could go like Cresselia plus... I could even go Cresselia Ursaluna, honestly. It's a little bit scary, but yeah. This is a very, very smart Calm Mindset. And I didn't fully think about Calm Mind Ursaluna. Like, it's not something I had fully covered for in prep. I think I was angling very much on shutting down the just pure offense, like hyper offense. And I think like Calm Mind's really smart because my team is so specially defensive, or like specially offensive, I should say. So I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Scraggy plus Cress again. If it's Scraggy plus Cress. Like I said, it's mainly just the fear of missing the Focus Blast with the Namorous. And then there's also, you know, the question, does he this time launch Fake Out? You could go Fake Out into Enamorous, for example, Terra Tauros immediately. I think the bad thing here is I don't have much to take advantage of Grass Terra specifically. Part of me, though, is thinking of leading Cresselia here. I could also Calm Mind with my own Crest, because I think the win con is probably my Ursaluna under Trick Room. And then I could steal Terra, have Tauros in the back for Intimidate. I could also lead Grimmsnarl, but the thing is Grimmsnarl's not really doing damage, which is not good for us. But yeah, Scraggy, Glastrier, Ursa seems really strong here. So let's try to figure out a new approach here. I think this game would have been different if I just clicked Focus Boss on turn 1. And I also, the turn Crest switched out, the turn Tauros switched in. Or Crest switched in, Tauros switched in. Both of those were like a little bit less than ideal as well. Like I think it would have been better to sacrifice Tauros to get a free switch in into Crest and then set up Trick Room. So I actually think the same Pokemon work. I don't like Wo-Chien here at all into Calm Mind because he can just keep setting up on me. And then Grim I think is actually leadable here. I could go Grim Crest instead with Ursa plus Enamorous. I think this is the other approach I'm thinking of. With this, I pressure with, like, turn 1, you'll probably click Fake Out into one of the two, right? But then I can even, like, Spirit Break into the Ursa just to drop its special attack immediately. So then, yeah, the other approach would be, like, run it back with Enamorous plus Tauros. I think I'm down for Grim Crest here. Knowing that you can't just one-shot me with the Blood Moon to start the game. The goal should be to eliminate Scraggy and then get Ursaluna out under Trick Room. I think that's my game plan. But very good prep. I think the Focus Ash actually also a really big deal on the Scraggy to ensure that you can... I mean, yeah, you're normally going to run Sash or Eviolite, right? But the Scraggy actually a really, really key player here in this matchup. And yeah, I think Blood Moon just such a versatile Pokemon in draft, as you can see here. Okay, so he's running it back. Yep. Scraggy Ursa. Go Grim Crest. Alright. Take 2. And so one of the other things here is I do have Steel Terror on this, which allows me to just like really tank an attack from Ursaluna. The question is what I want to do here on turn 1, right? I could Spirit Break into either slot. I'm actually leaning towards Spirit Breaking Ursaluna because I'm saying, look, I don't really care about your special defense. I also think Fake Out might just go into this slot, honestly. Fake Out goes into Crest, that's fine. I think bringing Scraggy down to Focus Sash also not terrible here. But... yeah, okay. I'm down to go for the Scraggy target here. I'm actually down to... this could be an opportunity to Calm Mind. Just allows me to survive a little bit easier against Ursa. Yeah, I'm down for that. Okay, it is going to be Fake Out in a Grim. Pay attention to who moves first here. Okay, so Crest moves first, which is good. We'll get Calm Mind off. Grim is faster than Ursa as well. Okay, very good information. This next turn is interesting. I can Light Screen. I can double up onto Scraggy for a knockout. Scraggy obviously could switch out as this Blood Moons. So it's probably a little bit more optimal to Light Screen right now. I'm leaning towards Light Screening and Moonblasting to get Scraggy down to Sash. But I'm also thinking about doubling up into Scraggy. The main thing with that is Scraggy could switch out into Glastrier right now, right? And then I don't get Light Screen up, which I feel like should be important into this Ursaluna. So I'm a Light Screen here. And Moonblast into the Scraggy. Okay, Scraggy's going to stay in. knock off into us. That is a lot of damage. Oh. Moonblast down. Blood Moon into Cress. Okay, this is a little bit awkward. Scraggy being max speed here and doing that much damage was not good. That was also an opportunity to maybe have set up Trick Room. The problem here is you can just knock off into Cress again, right? And Hyper Voice. Wow. I underestimated Scraggy's damage. That was a turn to Terra the Cress, honestly, but I was thinking about holding my Terra onto the Ursaluna. I think probably should have Terra'd there. Oh, but I have Sucker Punch, so I can Sucker you right now. Sucker and Lunar Blessing is what I'm leaning towards. Okay, Scraggy switches. Into Glastrier. Nice awareness of the potential Sucker Punch there, by the way. But we'll be able to heal back. Now I can set up Reflect as well. Turn 1, maybe it would have been better to just Moonblast instead of Calm Mind. Yeah, we're not taking that much damage now, which is good. I can Reflect. I think it's probably just going to be a Blood Moon now into the Crest slot. The problem is I don't have a lot of damage, right? You can Spirit Break to drop Ursa's special attack. I really want to get Trick Room up is the thing, right? Like, that should be our goal. But then we need to get Ursaluna out under Trick Room. I think a double up on a Crest here makes sense. Just a little bit, like... We should outspeed both with Crest, which is big. So I'm thinking about just going for Spirit Break this turn. Terra, Steel, and Lunar Blessing. I should have Terra Steeled on turn 2 of the game, though, I think. Because the problem is now I'm doing it so much later on in the battle, and I'm, like, really far behind. But, yeah, Scraggy's knockoff just did so much more to Crest than I had anticipated. This was a really good lead. I was worried about Scraggy Ursaluna, and I think the end solution was even smarter than what I was worried about. Like, Calm Mind plus Sash, really good combo. If he has close combat here, you could Blood Moon close combat double up in a Crest. Oh, Ursa just Calm Minds again. Okay. I will take that. Crunch. That's fine. No defense drop. Okay. The question is, does it have close combat as well? Because, like, I really want to set up Trick Room right now, right? I just can't do that very easily. I have no offense out on the field. That's a problem. I'm almost thinking about switching Crest out and Reflecting this turn. I could go Reflect Lunar Blessing. I could Spirit Break again. Yeah, I'm going Reflect Lunar Blessing. But yeah, I just have no damage right now. This does not feel great. Like, Crest is decently healthy, but it's going to soak up so much more damage now again. Oh, but it's Blood Moon. Okay, into Grim. Close combat. Oh, he doubles into Grim. Okay. I think this is a window of opportunity for me then. To set up Trick Room. I'm going to go into the... The problem is even with Trick Room up, like, Glastrier is a huge pain for us, right? I assume it's min speed. I'm going to go into an Amorous first here, actually. Can I... The speed, yeah, the speed sandwiching here is what makes this really awkward, and it's why I didn't want to play a Trick Room-centric strategy this week. I also now realize it's like I think Tauros actually is important in this matchup. I do have Focus Blast into either, but is that +2? I do think I want to set up the Trick Room still. We do have the Reflect up. I'm going to Focus Blast into Glastrier Trick Room right now. But I think turn 1... Yeah, Scraggy being as fast as it is, I think was a big problem for me in this game. He's likely just max speed. I had thought he would go with Eviolite. And I think max speed was really smart. It's actually a third Calm Mind here, okay. It's generally okay because the game plan is to use my Ursaluna to just beat that in the long run, but... Okay, Focus Blast does connect, but this should survive. Oh my gosh. Assault Vest Glastrier is so good here. Heavy Slam doesn't KO us, though. Let me get Trick Room up. He didn't want to miss Icicle Crash, right? That's why he didn't target Enamorous. The problem is I just bring Ursaluna out. You can just Hyper Voice now. These two are so hard to break through. Tauros was actually my best bet into it. Maybe Torracat if I had brought it this week. Vivian for Sleep Powder could have been decent as well. You're at what? +2, +3 Spadef. We need to get a knockout onto this. With Trick Room being up, you can just target Enamorous. Could switch into Ursa, but I'm probably eating up a Hyper Voice anyway. This feels pretty unwinnable. Let's see. Focus Blast. Move Blast and Glastrier. This Glastrier was an absolute tank, honestly. Really impressive. I think the main problem for me in this game was how much damage Crest took in the beginning of the game. And specifically, like, not tearing earlier on in the battle, because then I, like, set up Trick Room a little bit too late. And now, like, I get Enamorous, or sorry, Ursaluna out, but it's, like, a little bit too late. I assume this Glastrier is, like, max HP, max attack, min speed to function under Trick Room, which I think is really smart. But Ursa's also faster under Trick Room. So I can protect Ursaluna. The protect here is so obvious that I'm almost thinking, like, should I just attack? But, like, what do I even get out of attacking, right? I'm trying to think how I could win this off mistakes from his end. If he Blood Moons this turn, I can reverse Trick Room. And then my Ursa will be faster than Glastrier. Let's crunch. Okay. Nice double up. Very nicely done. I think his prep was awesome and his play was really, really good. So kudos to Clover. Really, really well done. I think, like, the mistake in game 2 was not tearing Crest, but honestly, this was a really tough matchup. Perhaps the toughest one we faced yet in this league. Like, this just dishes out so much damage, and the Calm Mindset I think was really smart, and then Assault Vest Glastrier also just, like, so hard to break through. So I'm trying to think, like, what I could have done from a team building perspective, because I think it's, like, obviously in draft sometimes you're going to just run into tough matchups. I think Tauros, though, was actually, like, really bringable here, and I, like, maybe could have just run it back. I think the other thing here is the speed investments. Like, I was really, really thinking about investing speed on Enamorous to try to be able to outpace Ursaluna, but I ended up not going for it. Had I had speed, I would have been able to just, like, thread in Ursaluna with a turn 1 Focus Blast, right? And in game 1, if I just clicked that Focus Blast, then we also probably would have been in a much better spot. So I do think I had some tools, actually, to approach this matchup. Oh, wow, we even survived that. That's impressive. But, yeah, this was just really, really well done by Clover. And, like, I want to go back to the drawing board and think about where I could have improved on the team building process, because I think I was so scared of just the hyper offense from his end, like normal Terra Ursaluna, like Grass Terra Calm Mind specifically as a combo was not something that had really crossed my mind, and so that was like a really, really strong set. And I think I just I think this is probably showing one of the fundamental flaws of my draft, which is not having a lot of good offense spread immediately. Because like Clover was able to just set up relatively easily, right? Like I don't think Spectre actually would have solved too much for us here. Although the Snarl set that I was thinking about actually could have been decent. But Spectre is just not that great until a Scraggy. Like Scraggy is a Pokemon I think I needed to show respect to more because it really enabled the rest of his team as well. But really, really well done, honestly. Yeah, like I think in drafts, sometimes you are just going to go up against like teams that are already scary to begin with, and then your opponents take those teams to the next level, and I feel like that's what Clover did in this matchup. And so I think the speed sandwiching made this really awkward for me as well, because it's like, oh, normally I can set up Trick Room, and I'll just use my really slow Pokemon, i.e. Enamorus and Ursaluna under Trick Room, but Clover had this Glastrier as well, and the Assault Vest Glastrier, I think, was, yeah, a really, really smart set as well. I was a little bit worried about, like, the Iron Defense Body Press set like he had shown in previous weeks. So, yeah, I want to, like, actually go back to the drawing board and think about where I could have improved on the team building, even, like, accounting for these sets, because I think it's, like, I'm trying to think what I would have done now knowing, like, he had these. But very, very well played by Clover. GG. I got absolutely obliterated this week. First of all, huge credits to Clover for coming up with some really creative solutions like Max Speed Scraggy as well as the Calm Mind Ursaluna. I thought this matchup was already going to be an uphill battle, and I felt like I basically couldn't really do anything this week, and that felt pretty bad. So I wanted to reflect and show you guys how I think about reflecting after losses, and in draft, there's so many different dimensions, right? There are the sets of the Pokemon that you brought, there are the sets that you didn't bring and the Pokemon you didn't bring, and then there's just how you could have played better as well. What's also really nice is this loss is happening at the end of week 6, which is right before free agency closes. And I think taking this loss at this time is actually really important because it highlights some structural issues that I have on my team. Overall, I think, what were my issues this week, right? I just didn't really have enough burst damage, and I couldn't bring my main Pokemon in Spectra either, and Trick Room wasn't reliable because of Assault Vest Glastrier. Calm Mind Cresselia was kind of neat if it were a Life Orb Ursaluna, but it was terrible into Calm Mind Ursaluna. Maybe if I had like Psyshock and a lot more offense, it could have worked, but even then, it's still kind of a stretch. And then I just couldn't figure out how to invest in speed this week because, like I mentioned, there's the threat of Murkrow Tailwind, which didn't even end up coming out. These were some of the sets that I had thought about this week that I maybe could have brought in offensive Grimmsnarl, Vivillon, Drain Punch, and Fast Ursaluna, as well as Fighting Terra Spectrier. I don't think any of these actually really would have saved us, right? Like Vivillon I thought maybe could have been good, but it was Grass Terra Ursaluna anyway, which covered for Sleep Powder. And so, yeah, like I just don't think that I really would have been able to do too much with really any of these sets, which I think then goes to show, wow, this team matchup feels really, really tough. Torracat was something I didn't even really think about because of Ursaluna Blood Moon, but I think it actually could have worked here because I was underprepared for Scraggy. This would give me a faster fake out into Scraggy. I have Overheat or Flare Blitz into Ursaluna. I can Parting Shot into it as well. But I think basically from a team building perspective, it's like even the ideas I had brainstormed would have been super good. I think the main thing that I am indexing on is I have Focus Blast, and I maybe could have gone like Choice Specs, Enamorus, Focus Blast, and just Focus Blast immediately onto Ursaluna Blood Moon on turn 1 and have a lot more speed investment on Enamorus. You know, I've like run Max Speed Enamorus in this league before, so I think that's one solution that could have worked out against the Calm Mindset specifically. I think my play could have been a lot better as well. For example, in game 1, I didn't go for that Focus Blast. Like, I would have been able to just get a lot of damage off. And then, yeah, I switched into Cresselia, switched into Tauros, and I was just eating up way too much damage because I think I indexed a little bit too heavily on Ursaluna's moveset. And I was like, oh, you're going to be like Blood Moon, Earth Power, Calm Mind, Protect. But then Hyper Voice was just dishing out so much damage. And then the Scraggy speed was really bad for us in game 2. Like, Scraggy just did so much work here. This is something I should have prepared for in team building, by the way, which is investing more speed on Cresselia to potentially outpace max speed Scraggy, because I don't think I need a ton of investment for it. And I should have also just Terra'd earlier with the Cresselia, because I think one win condition is if we KO Scraggy, then we can get Trick Room up, and then I am in a better position. Although the problem here is if I steal Terra, then Glastrier under Trick Room is still a problem as well, right? So once again, this is just really, really good team building from Clover. But I think, yeah, how could I have won with the tools that I brought? I had Paldean Tauros. I think like Fighting Terra and Close Combat was probably the best approach in this week, right? If I knock out the Scraggy early and conserve Tauros, then Tauros can come out, and then Fighting Terra Close Combat. And with Focus Sash, I can survive a big attack from the Ursaluna. So I think this was probably the key that I didn't really rely on or use as well as I could have. I also think, yeah, maybe I could have gotten Trick Room up earlier and just get Ursaluna out under Trick Room and say, you know what, I give up a Pokemon, Cresselia eats up a lot of damage, but then I get Ursaluna out under Trick Room, and it should do a lot of damage. The problem is with Scraggy, Intimidate Support, and Grass Terra, Ursaluna, Blood Moon, like, I can't even spam Earthquake, I'm intimidated, there's Slasher coming in as well. Trick Room actually doesn't feel very reliable. So the answer is, I feel like it was just really hard to win this week with the tools that I had, which means it's actually part of the issue is a team issue. Like, my play, of course, could have been better. My team building could have been better, but like, I think it's telling when I'm like, oh, even if I went for the plays that I mentioned here, or even if I like brought the sets I thought about, I still don't think it's even close to enough to winning against the sets that Clover had, right? Like, even if I knew he was going to go with Calm Mind, Grass Terra, Ursaluna, it's actually still hard to beat, right? And I had to cover for a lot in the team building process. What this means is I think my draft just was really behind my opponents, and I think it speaks to fundamental flaws on my team. I don't have fast-paced offense outside of Spectrier, which is really bad. I couldn't bring Spectrier this week. I was put in really awkward positions where Grim and Cresselia just do absolutely no damage, and so that's bad. And then I had to respect a lot of different Pokemon this week in Murkrow and Ferrograph in team building. Neither of those even ended up coming out, right? And so I think the main flaw that's fixable here is the no fast-paced offense outside of Spectrier. I've been relying way too much on Spectrier and Ursaluna in this league so far, and I think it's time that we look towards some other offensive options that can be utilized to support the rest of the team. So yeah, I played this right before the free agency period closes, and so this is a great opportunity. I haven't made any swaps yet, and so it's finally time to drop some Pokemon and pick up some new Pokemon. I think the reality after playing 6 weeks in this league is that I have just way too many supportive options, and I need more offense so that I'm not only relying on Spectra and Ursaluna for damage, right? This week felt like it really much was about Ursaluna. Of course, like, Tauros really could have been an MVP here, right? Like, I think I probably could have come up with some better Tauros sets, maybe Clear Amulet, Life Orb, Choice Band, for example. It's still obviously going to be frail, though, and gets blown up by Blood Moon, which is really scary. But the reality here is we need more fast-paced offense. So I'm dropping 4 different Pokemon: Torracat, Wo-Chien, Vivian, and Paldean Tauros. Vivian had one great week against Sierra. Wo-Chien we brought out against Moxie. Torracat basically has never come out. And Paldean Tauros has actually been a pretty good pick, but I'm dropping it because I want Keldeo, which gives me a fast-paced offensive option. And I also want Staraptor and Meowscarada. The idea behind this is Staraptor keeps Intimidate while also pressuring with Tailwind and things like Final Gambit. Meowscarada gives me a really fast-paced offensive option, which is really nice. And I picked up Cryogonal just because I needed one, like, very low-tier pick. Cryogonal is interesting because I can, like, Icy Wind. I can pair it next to Ursaluna. It's got Levitate, and so I just needed something to fill out the team. But I'm hoping that these new picks give me dramatically more speed, and I think, like, if I had Staraptor, for example, this week, would have been much better because it pressures with, like, Final Gambit immediately. And so I'm optimistic to see how things go. But I think, yeah, when you lose, especially, it's really one-sided loss. There's so many different dimensions to reflect on, and I think that, once again, this was kind of a necessary loss for me to improve my team and pick up some better Pokemon. Coming into this week, we are now 5th place in the league, and so definitely dropped a good bit after the previous week. But the thing about this league is with only 8 weeks in the regular season, it's so easy to move down or up in the standings after just 1 week. And so, yeah, I think, the goal ideally would be to secure a top 4 spot going into the playoffs to skip that first round. And so we definitely have some work to do after taking a loss in the last week, especially because the top teams are just, like, winning so consistently as well. But like I said, I think there were a lot of good learnings from last week, and now I think I feel like I have an overall stronger draft and roster as well. So I feel good about closing the regular season out, and yeah, just looking forward to seeing how things go. But with 4 and 2, we do have the highest tiebreakers just because I've had more like 2-0 victories, which is nice. But at the end of the day, because the standings move so easily, like, I don't want to focus too much on who's around me. I want to just focus on, like, winning these last 2 weeks ideally, right? And so yeah, but the good thing was starting 4-1 in the league meant that I secured playoffs early on, so it takes away some of the pressure. That being said, I think I'm still in a position to try to get a top 4 spot and skip that first round of playoffs, so we'll see what we can do. But yeah, this week we are going to be going up against Tone and the Miami Palafins. So after I got demolished in week 6, I retooled my roster and picked up some brand new Pokemon in Staraptor, Meowscarada, Keldeo, and Cryogonal, and I'm excited because I think we can actually bring some of those out immediately into this matchup. Tone has a sand-oriented team featuring Tyranitar, Excadrill. He's got Tailwind support from Salamence and Kilowattrel, double Fake Out, Inmian, Shelthwacky, Ogerpon, which obviously has Follow Me, as well as Ivy Cudgel and offense in general, and then a Trick Room mode of Gardevoir, Klotzer, and Dusknoir. So there are a lot of things that we have to respect here. The first thing is that I think Choice Scarf Staraptor is incredible here, right? Most of Tone's strongest picks are physical attackers, and Staraptor will be able to just intimidate them and also threaten with either Brave Bird into, for example, Thwackey, Mienshao, Ogerpon, close combat into T-Tar, Excadrill, or I could just even Final Gambit as well. Staraptor, I think, is definitely, in my opinion, maybe the best Pokemon coming into this matchup because it's really difficult to cover for. So I think it's a really consistent lead option here. Now, the one thing that Staraptor doesn't really want to go up against, of course, is that Kilowatt Roll, which is really fast, right? Outpaces most of my team. However, with Choice Scarf on Staraptor as well as really fast Spectrier, this is timid 220 speed EVs, I'll be able to outpace Kilowatt Roll, which means even if you get a competitive boost from my Intimidate, I can just knock you out even before you get the chance to move with the double up, which is really nice. So fast Spectrier is something that I really want to lean into this week. This Spectrier is fighting Terra with Life Orb, so I can Terra Blast things like Tyranitar as well as Excadrill, and I've also got Shadow Ball, so Ghost plus fighting coverage should be really good. I'm running Nasty Plot here as well because I can see scenarios where maybe I go Grimmsnarl Spectre and go fake out Nasty Plot in the early game, and I am going to be running Light Screen this week with Light Clay as well as Reflect Still. The idea behind this is I'll be able to set up screens and set up Ursaluna for success under Trick Room because that's one other approach I can take, right? I think big picture wise, I can either play fast with this team and go Staraptor, Spectre, Meowscarada +1, or I can lean into Trick Room and go Grim, Cresselia, Ursaluna +1. Ursaluna under Trick Room looks really solid into Tone's team as well. Should have the ability to one-shot most things on his end. I think the main thing is that we want to respect something like Dusknoir plus Klotzer under the Trick Room. And so I want a defensive Terra to deal with Klotzer. And so I've got the Water Terra here on Ursaluna. Otherwise, some notes, I'm running a really physically defensive Cresselia, which should be helpful into so many physical attackers, and I've also got Covert Cloak to try to set up Trick Room a little bit more easily when you've got double Fake Out from Mienshao and Thwackey, and I've also got Meowscarada here with offense, Triple Axle, good into Salamence and Kilowatt Roll, although obviously can miss, Flower Trick, good into Klotzer, and Low Kick, good into T-Tar plus Excadrill. I'm actually running Trick Room as the fourth move here on Meowscarada because I think it is hard to stop Meowscarada's offense without doubling up into it, and if you double up into it means I get another attack off with something else, right? And if you don't double up into it means I can get a Trick Room up potentially and then get Ursaluna out under Trick Room, which is of course really nice. But I think Staraptor is actually probably the key Pokemon I want to lean into this week, and it's using Staraptor to disrupt and having, you know, the Spectre, the Ursaluna, and the Meowscarada to dish out massive amounts of damage. All right. I think everything here was expected. I'm mainly surprised to not see Kilowatt Roll. Quick reminder on the terrace here, it's going to be Fire Ogerpon, obviously, Grass Thwackey, Normal Dusknoir, Grass Klotzer, Flying Tyranitar, Rock Excadrill. Clear Amulet Excadrill here would make sense with Rock. Could be Choice Band as well, you just Rock Terra, and then Rock Slide. I do have the Covert Cloak on Crest here, so I can avoid a Fake Out from Thwackey. A lot of possible leads here. And then we have Fighting Terra Spectre, obviously, as well. Since there's no... Since there is no Kilowatt Roll, I feel like Staraptor is a relatively safe lead here. I wouldn't be surprised if it were something like a T-Tar Exca lead, but I can just Fighting Terra this. Ursa in the back. And then for the last one... Meowscarada or Spectrier. I think Spectre is really solid in this matchup. I might not necessarily even need to set up Trick Room with this approach, but we'll see. Klotzer plus Dusknoir, I think, is kind of like the unknown variable here. And I think it looks like Tone is pretty prepared for Trick Room. So I think it's like Spectre is a really interesting game 2 adjustment, for example. Just leading Grimmsnarl Spectrier. You can go Fake Out Fighting Terra immediately. Thwackey can obviously be led to pressure with Fake Out. We are Water Terra on Ursaluna here, so Thwackey actually does do damage into us. So that's one thing we'll have to be cautious of. But yeah, I think Staraptor, I felt like was the best Pokemon coming into this matchup. I was really happy that I picked it up. And I think that should continue to be the case here, especially with no Kilowatt Roll. I was really worried about Kilowatt Roll. But yeah, I think it would make sense for this to be Choice Band Excadrill or Terra Rock. It is just Exca T-Tar, okay? Or Clear Amulet. Not Clear Amulet, okay. I'm thinking Choice Band then. What do I want to do here? Gotta respect Assurance here. This could obviously Flying Terra. You could Rock Slide Flying Terra immediately. I'm leaning towards U-turning and Trick Rooming. I think with Intimidate, I shouldn't be super worried about this since I'm max HP, max defense as well. It could be a knockoff into this slot, though. I could just close combat here immediately as well. I'm honestly thinking about close combat Trick Room here. Could be Final Gambit as well. Could Ghost Terra. Honestly, okay, I don't mind hard switch Ursa turn 1. Trick Room. Ideally, we bait out a Protector, a Terra here. Okay, it's just Rock Slide. That's fine. Just double Rock Slide. Okay. Ursa actually dodges it, which is quite lucky. Let's see if Crest flinches. No flinch. Beautiful. And now Ursa is out under Trick Room. Even if you flinch there, it's not the end of the world, right? Because you're stuck on the field with 2 Pokemon that just aren't that strong into us. The main concern there would have been something like a knockoff. So I think Blackie switching in right now definitely makes a lot of sense. You could switch in Thwackey Flying Terra T-Tar or switch in Thwackey Protect Excadrill. I think I honestly want to just go Facade into the T-Tar slot and Helping Hand. Just want to see. I assume this actually might knock out Tyranitar, but let's see. Ursaluna into Tyranitar. Facade with Helping Hand. It's not a KO. Even with the burn, that's actually kind of surprising. It's just that this could Flying Terra. I do have Earthquake this turn. Okay. I'm down a Helping Hand Facade here. No switch outs. Wow. Neither Pokemon protect or switch. Interesting. We do a ton of damage there. It's going to be knockoff into Ursa. That's fine. And just another Rock Slide. Okay. I mean, this just indicates to me there's no Thwackey in the back, potentially. Even if there is Thwackey in the back, at this point I can just Lunar Blessing. But this is why I didn't mind going for that prediction, because I didn't really lose that much out of it, right? So, I'm down to just Earthquake now. And Lunar Blessing. I could Psyshock this turn as well, but I think I'll take the free healing. Excadrill being out on the field actually isn't that bad for us. But yeah, if I just Earthquake Psyshock last turn, double KO right there. So, I just felt like something Terraring would have made a lot of sense. Now, T-Tar is too low, in my opinion, to actually Terra. Like, if you Terra, sure, you are immune to Earthquake for a turn, but then you've Terra'd something that's at 10% of your health. Crest has also dodged more damage than I expected for sure, but that initial Intimidate was huge. I can consider... Okay, T-Tar protects here, that's fine. Let's see if Exca protects as well. Nope, it doesn't. Great. And I think like the downside for Tone right now is that you just have 2 Pokemon out on the field that don't really do very much, right? So, first of all, we'll see if this is Focus Sash Excadrill. It's not. Okay, cool. What is the item on it? Could it be Choice Band? Let's see. Because I did get an Intimidate, and we are max HP, max defense, so Rock Slide practically does nothing. But Excadrill... Because I was thinking Choice Band would make a lot of sense. -1, Choice Band, Rock Slide into Cresselia. Max HP, max defense. $22 to $27. Did I take 27 health in the beginning? I think that might be Choice Band. Choice Band would make a lot of sense. I was thinking that would have been their best Staraptor answer. I was actually kind of surprised to not see Rock Terra on turn 1. But Klotzer comes out now, okay. This is going to be... What Terra on Klotzer? Grass. But I've got Water Terra here, which is really helpful. My Ursa is also min speed here. So even if you're a min speed Klotzer, unless you're like Iron Ball, we outpace you. Oh, but the Flamer was actually removed, which is, I guess, slightly awkward. That was the downside of going for Lunar Blessing. It may have actually not been worth it to go for it there, but it's fine. Tyranitar protected. What do I have in the back? Spectrier with Fighting Terra. Ogre Palm in the last makes sense. I think tearing Ursa here is probably fine. Yeah, I'm down for Helping Hand Earthquake here. Yeah, because we lost our Flame Orb, it probably was optimal to not Lunar Blessing last turn, since like a -1 T-Tar isn't really scaring me very much anyway, but yeah, surprised to see the lack of switches. Okay, we get the Terra out on the opposing side, and that's totally okay, because now it means I have an endgame where Staraptor can just Brave Bird into it. And if the last one indeed is the Fire Ogre Pawn, Staraptor Brave Bird should be excellent in this endgame. So yeah, I figured Cressaluna should be really good in this matchup, and so far it's definitely been paying off, I think. But I think, yeah, the lack of Thwacky is the main thing here, because I could have just gone for Earthquake and gotten a double knockout earlier in this game. And we still do a lot of damage to Klotzer there, so I'll take that. It's probably in KO range of Life Orb Shadow Ball, I would guess, after Sand. I wonder if it has Terra Blast here. Ooh, it does. Okay. That's cool. But it doesn't even KO us. Wow. Good job, Ursaluna. Yeah, I still don't regret going for that. I think it's fine. Ogre Pawn's the last one. Okay, that's perfect. I think Staraptor and Spectre are super well equipped to deal with this in the end game. Could be double protect. Could just Helping Hand Earthquake here for guaranteed damage again. I think I don't mind that. I'm going to faint after Sand here, but that's perfect because we've timed this in a way that Trick Room and Sand ends at the same time. What's the downside of going Helping Hand, target Klotzer? Bulky Ogre Pawn, surviving Brave Bird. Yeah, I'm down to just Helping Hand Earthquake here. It's just guaranteed free damage. And if, like I said, if it's a protect on one Pokemon and not the other, you take a ton of damage on one. If you double protect, then it's a free switch in into Staraptor. But if we had Flame Orb, I think Ursa would have just swept everything here. Oh, neither protect. Okay, works for me. I don't mind losing both Mons because I just have two faster Mons in this endgame now, right? That does so much. Nice. Lots of Terra Blasts. That's fine. Ursa faints, but we're going to faint there anyway. So this one, I think, like, if you are Tone, your adjustment should be Thwacky in game 2, because I got to spam Ursaluna too easily. Wood Hammer comes out. I think Crush should survive this with all our defense. Yeah, beautiful. Ogre Palm faints. Perfect. Cool. And I haven't revealed my last Pokemon yet, so I don't want to bring out Spectrier. Better to bring out Staraptor here. Didn't reveal any moves with it yet, but I'll just reveal what is most obvious. In Brave Bird, I think. We've already revealed pretty much all of our moves here. Might as well just go for Helping Hand. Don't want to... I mean, Psyshock wouldn't show up anyway, but if Klotzer, like, protected, it would be relevant. Alright. Well, the Staraptor pickup was huge for us, so I'm very happy about it. Played a huge role in just, like, weakening the damage immediately. So, yeah, I think if I'm Tone, I'm thinking of bringing Dusknoir or Thwacky in the second game. Because I think if you had Dusknoir or Thwacky, you would have been able to switch in when I had Ursaluna out. So the question is, do I feel the need to really deviate on my leads? I'm obviously going to be vulnerable to potentially getting flinched on turn 1. But I'm thinking I can even go Staraptor Spectrier here in game 2. That's one possible mode. Yeah, so I think the question is, do I feel the need to deviate from anything? Meowscarada I brought this week, but, you know, Tyranitar obviously sets up the sand. Meowscarada is not, like, the set I brought in the end, not that great into Ogerpon. I mean, Ursaluna felt incredible in that one, and I'm not sure Tone even has that much counterplay to it, although I do think knowing its Grass Terra Blast on Klotzer is important. I could go Grimmsnarl, but like I said, I think Thwacky lead is possible here. Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to, like, keep Ursa in the back or maybe not even bring it. But I do think it's probably too good to drop here. But I think I'm thinking of Cresselia, Ursaluna in the back this time around. If I'm Tone, I'm really worried about Ursaluna, but I know it's Water Terra, so I would go with Thwacky, Klotzer, Ogerpon plus a 4th. I would probably drop T-Tar Excalibur. I'm honestly intrigued by Grim Spectrier here. But I guess if I'm going Grim Spectrier, what do I have in the back? Maybe this isn't the most consistent. Staraptor Spectrier, Cresselia, Ursaluna I think is really intriguing here. Okay, I'm down for this. Like, part of the theory behind Life Orb Spectrier with Nasty Plot this week is that I can, like, Final Gambit into Nasty Plot, and then Spectrier can just one-shot everything, basically. So, like the lack of Kilowattrel, once again, I feel like I really get to take advantage of. But the theory behind this week is I wanted multiple Pokemon that could outspeed Kilowattrel. So, like, this lead would have actually worked into Kilowattrel as well. But it's T-Tar Klotzer, which is fine by me. Okay, cool. I mean, I could just Final Gambit Fighting Terra turn 1, but I think we could also bait out a Terra from either of these right now. Klotzer. Staraptor's Final Gambit here will KO Klotzer for sure. But Tyranitar could have more HP than us. Does Flying T-Blast KO Spectrier at -1 is my question. If I Fighting Terra, I think it probably does. Spectrier, Fighting. Let's also make sure I don't run out of time here. 30 seconds. Fighting, Terra Blast. No bulk. Oh, it's interesting because I intimidated you, right? Okay, I'm actually going to play defensively turn 1 and Protect Switch. The idea here is to scout out for a Terra or a Protect on turn 1, and once we scout that out, I think we'll be in great shape. Neither Terra. Interesting. T-Tar just went for Rock Slide. Wow, Staraptor totally could have just... I could have just gone, like, close combat here. I mean, this is still fine. And Water Pulse, okay. So like I said, I think Thwacky's probably in the back. This could be Assault Vest Klotzer. Tyranitar is not Assault Vest. So I could Helping Hand... Fighting Terra, Terra Blast it. You could also Shadow Ball into Klotzer. Let's see, assuming you're Assault Vest, max HP, Shadow Ball. Life Orb with Helping Hand. If it's AV, yeah, we're not KOing. If you're non-AV... Very good chance. Knockoff into this slot makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna go Helping Hand Terra Blast here. I just can't believe neither Terra in front of Staraptor Spectre on turn 1. I think I maybe should have just gone for Final Gambit onto Klotzer. Like, I could have gone Final Gambit, fighting Terra, Terra Blast, T-Tar on turn 1. And that would have been pretty sweet. Okay, well, T-Tar doesn't Terra. Klotzer protects. Okay, great. Nice. Beautiful. Oh, this is fantastic for us. This should get the KO. Oh, Sash on the T-Tar. That's cool. That's why I didn't protect on turn 1. Okay, that makes sense. Neat. Knockoff now? Yeah, but onto Spectrier. Okay, that's fine. The expectation is Thwacky in the back, though, right? Thwacky in the back. It's not that easy to actually set up Trick Room from this angle. And even if I set up Trick Room, then I'm awkwardly left with Staraptor in the end game. So I'm almost wondering if I don't want to Trick Room here. Tyranitar protecting Water Pulse into Spectre right now is a pretty safe play, I think. But what do we expect in the back? I would guess Thwacky plus either Excadrill or Ogerpon. Probably Ogerpon, honestly. Since we're having Ice Beam would have been pretty nice, I think. That's a cool tech. Sash on T-Tar. I was wondering where the Sash was. But that's really good to know. I think I'm down to protect Spectrier here and go for Psyshock onto Klotzer. I think T-Tar protecting here would make a lot of sense. No protect. Okay. That's fine. It's just a Rock Slide, okay? I mean, it's a Staraptor waiting room now. But the Water Pulse still is good in Spectrier, okay. Yeah, the positioning right now is just a little bit awkward. Rock Slide, knockoff. I mean, this Tyranitar probably can't even hit Spectrier, truthfully, right? So I feel like I can Shadow Ball Helping Hand into Spectrier. Let me calc that. Do I need the Helping Hand? I don't have Life Orb anymore, so I think I do. Without Life Orb, if you're max HP, Shadow Ball, Helping Hand. It's a damage roll against max HP, Klotzer. I think I'll go Helping Hand, Shadow Ball here. I think one thing to consider is actually dropping Meowscarada, or dropping Crest Grim altogether. Sorry, Crest Ursaluna altogether. Okay, neither protects. Cool. So this should KO the Klotzer. Nice. Ice Beam would have been nice for Tyranitar here, but yeah, I wasn't anticipating Focus Sash T-Tar. I think that's really smart. Cool, knock off into Crest, KOs us, but that's fine. So I think Thwacky now, like I said, coming out makes some sense to me. They can pretty easily bring out Staraptor, which gives me Intimidate. If it's Excadrill, I mean, this Intimidate's valuable as well, and you're Rock Terra, so Close Combat just crushes. Or Terra Blast. But yeah, I think if I were to replay this game, I would consider doubling up onto T-Tar turn 1. It's interesting that it's Focus Sash, but it's still slower than Cresselia, because I would expect it to be like max attack, max speed Focus Sash. I'm curious where the EVs are. Max attack for sure. Staraptor Duskfall, okay. Interesting. Well, this is normal Terra Dusknoir. I have +1 here. How much does that do? Spectre into Dusknoir. I mean, +1 Shadow Ball is really strong. I'm almost thinking about doubling up into Dusknoir here. What is their last one going to be, I guess, is the other question. Yeah, I'm thinking of clicking Final Gambit and Shadow Ball into Dusknoir. This covers for normal Terra. Okay, they don't Terra it. T-Tar protects, that's fine. I guess it could be Ghost Resist Berry. Ah, it is. Clever. Very clever. Okay, so U-turn would have been great there because I would have been able to pivot out the Ursaluna. Now Ursa is a little bit vulnerable, which makes this next turn kind of awkward for us. But what do we think is the final Pokemon? Thwackey or Fire Ogerpon, right? I could pretty easily protect Spectrier here, bring out the Ursaluna. It's fairly predictable, but it's -2. I lose my Flame Orb, but I'm still pretty strong, honestly. I could low-key just stay in here as well, honestly. But I think conserving Staraptor is probably pretty important. So I'll go for what I think is kind of the obvious play here, but I think it's still fine. But yeah, if I went U-turn onto Dusknoir last turn, Shadow Ball, it's probably a game-winning play. Dusknoir reveals Helping Hand, that's fine. Spectre protects. Oh, it's just helping at Rock Slide, okay. Yeah, I think the reality is with Focus Sash on T-Tar, we actually get a dodge as well, which is pretty lucky. But yeah, with Sash on T-Tar, it's just kind of awkward. I think now we can pretty easily Shadow Ball into Dusknoir and Facade into T-Tar. The only counterplay to this would be... I don't think Dusknoir can KO Spectrier. I could have just switched into Staraptor and clicked Earthquake as well. The only reason I didn't do that was risk of Thwackey switching in. T-Tar protects, that's fine. What does Dusknoir go for here? Ah, it's Brick Break. Okay. So he brought Brick Break to deal with Screen's Grimmsnarl, which makes sense. Dusknoir, by the way, I actually think is one of the coolest sprites in this game. That is beautiful. It's so cool. And creepy. Okay, Dusknoir faints. I'm very curious what the final Pokemon was. But yeah, I think the theory behind this week worked out, which was I want fast Pokemon and I want slow Pokemon, so I outpace you outside of Trick Room, and I also outpace you in Trick Room. Like the kind of awkward speed sandwiching, right? Ogerpon comes out. Cool. T-Tar just protected. Trick Room is still up. 2 turns of Trick Room left. I can pretty easily... I mean, this T-Tar basically does no damage, right? So I can go for Shadow Ball into Tyranitar here and Facade into Ogerpon. I could also probably just switch in Staraptor Earthquake. Yeah, that also probably works. But I don't know what the Tyranitar's 4th move is. What do we see? Knock Off, Rock Slide, Protect? Like, I just don't think you actually hit... Like, Terra Blast was my guess, right? I guess if you have Terra Blast, you could Flying Terra, Spiky Shield, Terra Blast us. That'd be pretty strong. But then the Terra Blast is a flying or special Terra Blast, right? Yep, Terra finally comes out, but it's a -2 T-Tar, so it's fine. I assume Ogerpon Spiky Shields here. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Well, Facade should one-shot this. Yeah. Cool. And I didn't mind it spiky shooting there because we basically forced it to spiky shield, right? It is flying Terra Blast. Okay, so this is what I was actually worried about on turn 1 of the game, which is why I didn't go for the kind of obvious play. Yes, I knocked out onto Spectre, but now I have Staraptor in the end game. So even if you stalled out Trick Room, Staraptor just outpaces and wins the game. So yeah, Kilowattrel was the main Pokemon I was actually pretty worried about this week because I feel like if Kilowattrel didn't come out, Staraptor would just be absolutely incredible, and that definitely was the case here. I'm glad I didn't lead into Grim in this one either, just because there was Brick Break on the Dusknoir. But, yep, last turn of Trick Room here. We can just go for Final Gambit, Facade. I realized I actually should not be clicking Final Gambit there because the Pokemon count differential actually matters, and so had Tyranitar protected there, Final Gambit would have knocked out T-Tar, but I would have knocked out my own Staraptor, decreasing my tiebreakers, so I should have given that a little bit more thought. I'm just so not used to playing for tiebreakers, because in VGC, normally your ultimate goal is to obviously just win the game, right? But yeah, GG's. I feel like my play could have been a little bit cleaner here. I was playing really passively in the early game because I was like trying to bait out Protects and Terras, and we didn't see any of that. Tone was willing to just lean into offense and attack. And for example, in game 1, like I could have just gotten a huge lead turn 1 if I went like Final Gambit fighting Terra Blast. I think the Ghost Resist Berry was really clever on the Dusknoir because without it, as you saw, +1 Shadow Ball with Life Orb just gets, well, we didn't have Life Orb then, but +1 Shadow Ball would have gotten the knockout since we did over 50%. And so, yeah, but the reality is like Trick Room being set up wasn't even really beneficial because we had Ursaluna in the back. So I was a little bit surprised to not see Thwackey in this one. Like, I feel like because I ended up going for Water Terra on Ursaluna, that was something that could have been a little bit exposable with Thwackey Klotzer. And so that was the main adjustment I actually expected to see over Dusknoir because you set up grassy terrain, so I can't spam Earthquake as easily. But overall, yeah, I feel like we just had really, really strong offense here. And the strongest offense from Tone's end was T-Tar Exca, but Intimidate was just super, super good into that. And then Ogerpon just not really a major factor in this one because we had the Staraptor that threatened a KO onto it outside of Trick Room, and then Ursaluna threatens a KO under Trick Room. So yeah. GG's, we move on to 5-2 now, and so we've got one last week left in the regular season, and I think a win in the last week can guarantee us a top 4 spot, which would secure a bye in the first round, which would be really nice. And so I'm mainly happy that, you know, I had made some swaps. I ended up bringing, of course, one Pokemon that was key in this matchup in that Staraptor, which I think was really good. I, of course, had Paldean Tauros, but Staraptor, which is also an Intimidator, but I think Staraptor here functions a little bit differently with Final Gambit U-turn pressure to allow me to potentially set up Trick Room. So yeah, GG's to Tone, and thanks to you all as always for watching. Coming into the last week of the regular season, we are in 4th place in the league. Now, as a reminder, the top 4 teams get to skip the first round of playoffs, and so getting that bye would be really, really nice. There are a lot of teams at 5-2, but because I have the highest tiebreaker out of everyone coming into this week, I think as long as I basically win 2-1, I should have a top 4 slot secured. We can actually jump as high as first place if any of the top 3 seeds lose as well, but obviously that's not something that's in our control, so we just have to kind of focus on the battle, of course, ahead of us. And we're going to be going up against Viz, who is also in 6th place, and so I think it's actually very likely that this battle ends up determining who is that final 4th seed going into playoffs. But it should be an exciting one, and I'm eager to take him on. Coming into this battle against Viz, there are a lot of different things that I think we need to respect. First of all, there's Meowstic, which he's basically brought every week, but used very different sets on. Meowstic can be really disruptive, it can set up screens, it can fake out, it can, of course, offer speed control via Thunder Wave, it can set up gravity as well. So those are all things that I want to potentially be prepared for. Viz also has some really top-heavy Pokemon in Urshifu, Iron Crown, and Dragapult, but I think even the lower-tier picks in Yamega and Dipplin are certainly Pokemon that we need to respect, right? And so I want to basically account for all of these in team building because I think there's a chance any of them come out. This week, I'm relying on 2 core strategies in Grimmsnarl plus Spectre, as well as Cresselia plus Ursaluna. The idea is to have a fast mode and a slow mode, right? Grimmsnarl Spectre should be really oppressive. Spectre should be able to outpace most things. It's mainly that Dragapult that we're going to be worried about. But with Fairy, Terra, Draining Kiss, I think we are actually decently covered in a Dragapult. Instead of going for dual screens Grimmsnarl, I'm actually opting for Covert Cloak with Fake Out, Thunder Wave, Spirit Break, and Fake Tears. The idea is Covert Cloak is valuable against Fake Out Meowstic, and I think it's likely that he considers something like Meowstic Iron Crown lead and goes Fake Out into Grimmsnarl on turn 1. And with Covert Cloak, I can ignore the Fake Out and then just flinch Iron Crown, which is absolutely huge. The Fake Tears allows me to essentially just combo knockouts and decrease my opponent's special defense really quickly. Thunder Wave is good speed control for example, Speed Booster, Crown, as well as Dragapult. And Spirit Break actually does meaningful damage into 2 of his top picks in Dragapult and Urshifu as well. Spectre here is going to be the Life Orb set with Shadow Ball and Draining Kiss, and I'm opting for Substitute here as well, which synergizes nicely with Fake Out, and of course gets around Sucker Punch from Dark Urshifu as well. I've also got Cresselia plus Ursaluna here, and I'm actually running Iron Ball Ursaluna. The idea behind this is I have a fast mode to commit to and a slow mode to commit to. Normally, Ursaluna I feel a little bit hesitant because of Araquanid in Team Preview being able to underspeed Ursaluna, so outspeeding me under Trick Room. But with Iron Ball, what I can do is catch Araquanid off guard and go for Helping Hand plus Double Edge to just get a one-hit knockout onto it. To round the team out, I've got Meowscarada and Keldeo. I didn't think Enamorus made a lot of sense this week because there's Iron Crown as well as, Araquanid, which can threaten with Wide Guard. And I think Staraptor is actually a pretty nice pick here as well, just for Intimidate, but it's really not very good into Dragapult specifically, and I think Dragapult is likely to come out here, and so I don't love having something that just feels useless into one of the key Pokemon in the matchup. So I'm going with Meowscarada, which just has really good damage across the board, and with Focus Sash should be able to guarantee a hit, as well as Calm Mind Keldeo. The idea behind Calm Mind Keldeo is a potential lead option with Grimmsnarl. I can just go Grim Keldeo. If you lead into Iron Crown, for example, I can go Fake Out Calm Mind turn 1 with Steel Terra if necessary, and then just start doing a lot of damage with Secret Sword and Hydro Pump as well. Decided to opt for Expert Belt here since other items like Life Orb are already taken up, and I think Leftovers Recovery probably not significant enough to actually get value out of this week. So I think a lot of different lead options, but Grim Spectre is one, Grim Keldeo is one. I think we could go Grim Crest, although obviously that's a little bit passive, and I'm not relying as much on Trick Room this week, but Ursaluna is a countermeasure in case it looks like he wants to lean more heavily into the Araquanid strategy. Okay, so I see Yamega has made an appearance here. This is Terra Dragon Dragapult as well, which I think bodes well for Terra Fairy Spectrier. One of my game plans coming into this week was Grimmsnarl Spectrier lead. No Araquanid, which is actually really interesting. That was one of the main things I was worried about. So I'm thinking Grim, Spectrier, Meowscarada. One thing I might have to consider in this matchup, by the way, is Self-Thunder Waving. I initially was going to have Misty Terrain on Grimmsnarl. Ended up not bringing it, but there is the Yamega here and the Apple, so we have to respect Yamega spamming Hypnosis. But Substitute plus Thunder Wave should be handy for that. I think I'm going to go Grim Spectrier. It's interesting. I could set up my own Trick Room in this game, actually. But I'm going to go Meowscarada, Keldeo in this first one. Alright. Winner gets a spot in top 4. Gets a bye in playoffs. Loser gets a high seed for the first round of playoffs. So, win would be great. But either way, I'm excited to, bring some new revamped Pokemon onto our team after the free agency period ended. Of course, in this match, we're bringing 2 brand new Pokemon in Keldeo as well as Meowscarada. It's going to be Meowstic, Iron Crown. Okay. So this is where the Covert Cloak, I think, should be really handy. Should be a boost. Oh, no Booster Crown. Interesting. Okay. I'm mainly worried about a Thunder Wave coming out from Meowstic. But because I have Covert Cloak, I think I can go Fake Out into Iron Crown turn 1. And Sub. Sub covers for Iron Crown protecting. I'm mainly curious just what kind of set the Meowstic wants to run here. But I think it could Thunder Wave into Spectrier, in which I don't think subbing really accomplishes much. Could be Ghost Resist Meowstic. I think I'm actually down to just Fake Out Shadow Ball Meowstic turn 1. It's going to be the Terra here, okay? Terra on the Crown. It's Terra Steel here, that's fine. That was the idea behind not committing all in to Crown turn 1. They're Terraing. I honestly think it could be Choice Specs low-key. Okay, Meowstic just sets up a light screen. That's fine. Life Orb Shadow Ball here. Still does a ton of damage. think my main question right now is whether or not we see... This Crown flinches. The good thing, by the way, is now Keldeo can come out and just click Secret Sword, which is pretty sweet. I also have low kick on Meowscarada, so I'm happy to get that Terra commit. I'm mainly just curious if there's a Thunder Wave coming out my way right now. I could pretty easily Fake Tears Crown. Okay, the question is, if we Fake Tears it, do we KO? And does Crown KO us? Because I think, it, like I said, it could be Choice Specs. So I could Thunder Wave it. Let's see, if you're Terra'd, but -2. Life Orb, Shadow Ball. Should be a KO. So I'm thinking of going for Fake Tears, Shadow Ball here in a Crown. Oh, okay. Oh, I mean... Clear Amulet Crown. Okay, but that Shadow Ball also didn't really do very much. So it's going to be Helping Hand, Tacky, and Cutter here into Spectra, presumably, yeah. Whoa, this is really specially defensive. The Clear Amulet's so cool. That counters my Fake Tears play. But also, this Iron Crown is, like, super duper bulky. Whoa, okay. Very cool. I can bring out Meowscarada, or I could bring out the Keldeo. So, which one of these would I prefer? Dragapult could be in the back. We still have Thunder Wave across the board. I, of course, have Secret Sword here. And Expert Belt. Set up a Reflect. This is really, really interesting. Yeah, it completely stops the Fake Tear strat. So I might want to consider leading one of these two in the subsequent game. I think I'll go with Keldeo here. Keldeo into Iron Crown, Secret Sword. Terra Steel. Expert Belt. But with Reflect up. That's pretty good damage. I mean, it's 68 to 80%. Also, it's still at light screen that's relevant. You don't need to set up Reflect. I could Thunder Wave here into Crown, which would be a little hedge. Thunder Wave also helps in case Meowstic has Thunder Wave, right? I do have Calm Mind as well, which is interesting. I think I'm leaning towards just Thunder Wave, Secret Sword. Okay, Meowstic Reflects. So it's Reflect dual screens. Makes sense. Clear Amulet is really cool, though. What a call. I wonder if that was specifically for Fake Tears as a tech. Secret Sword. Oh, it lives on like 1 HP, but okay, it's just Tacky and Cutter into Grimmsnarl, so that's fine. We still haven't Terra'd yet, which is the big advantage I have right now, in my opinion. I still don't know what Meowstic's final attack is. This is an interesting situation where I can like, I think Gravity would make sense, right? It could be Psychic. But basically, like, I kind of want to Calm Mind here with Keldeo. But I obviously have a double knockout in front of me, so I'm thinking I should probably just take it. The thing is, leaving Meowstic on the field is actually advantageous for us because it's just not offering him very much, right? It's Helping Hand dual screen, so you only have one final move. It just could be Trick Room. But that would be kind of weird. So I think I'll go for Knockoff here and a Crown. Calm Mind here. Okay, Meowstic just Helping Hands. Does this have any Prio? No. Okay. We get Calm Mind. Knockoff comes out. Great. So now I have Terra advantage and a +1 Keldeo, right? Which I think is a pretty big deal. It's Terra Dragon, Dragapult, Terra Bug, Yamega. A lot of offensive Terras, which is interesting. Terra Poison, Urshifu. But if Urshifu comes out, I can just Secret Sword you. Man, that was a crazy survival on Crown, though. If Crown had targeted us with Psychic type attack, that could have been really ugly. Yamega comes out. So you would expect Yamega to simply just go for Protect here, right? I'm Terra Steel here, which should be very good offensively into Yamega. And I do have Triple Axle, but I think Yamega should pretty much always Protect here. The question I'm debating is whether or not I go for a second Calm Mind here. Because Yamega should be special. I think it's probably better to just guarantee the knockout onto Meowstic right now. Yeah, I'll Triple Axle here. I think I can hold on to my Terra still. And Secret Sword. Just curious what Meowstic's last move is. He just goes for Helping Hand. Okay, this Triple Axle connect. First, we'll get the knockout here onto Meowstic. Yep. Okay. Triple Axle. 1 hit. 2 hits. That's actually a pretty bulky Yamega. Whoa. That did a lot less than expected. I mean, Reflect is up, but still. Okay. Struggle Bug. That did so much damage. That's because I got crit. Okay. What is this Yamega set? I thought Meowscarada would definitely KO with Triple Axle with 3 hits there. Meowscarada into... I guess I should have Terra there then. Into Stellar. Urshifu is the last one. You obviously can Sucker Punch either slot. I have Sucker Punch as well. Oh my gosh, does this come down to a Sucker Punch mind game? Also, this Yamega is... Wow, it's not Speed Boost. Yeah, I just didn't want to gamble the game off Stellar last turn, but this offensive set is so interesting. Tinted Lens, yeah. So cool. That feels like choice specs, honestly, right? 2 turns of Reflect. I'm honestly thinking Stellar... Sucker Punch? It depends on where the Sucker goes from Urshifu, right? Does Urshifu even Sucker Punch is the question. Stellar Sucker. Calm Mind again. This can win if he goes Sucker Punch into either slot. Those are crazy, crazy cool sets, honestly. Very neat. I just wish I Stellar last turn. Okay, Stellar Sucker Punch. This thing is so bulky! Why is it so bulky? Is it like max HP, max deep? Like, what is this set? How am I doing no damage? Wow. Okay. I can't believe this Yamega survived a Triple Axle into a Sucker Punch. That's nuts. If I Stellar Triple Axle, I still wouldn't have done enough to Reflect, actually. I think I just honestly overestimated Meowscarada's damage, but I also really didn't take into account Tinted Lens. I think that was really clever. And then because I was expecting Speed Boost, Hypnosis stuff, but it means that the turn Yamega attacked, like, I could have just doubled up onto that slot with Triple Axle. So, yeah. Alright, this game cooking with the sets. So, let's see, but I learned a ton. Let me jot everything down, actually. Make sure I don't forget anything. I just can't believe the bulk, honestly. It's nuts. Tinted Lens is so cool as well. Like, that felt like choice specs, but super defensive. So Iron Crown, I mean, he's clearly got a lot of EVs across the board, right? Iron Crown is Clear Amulet. Witch, Shadow Ball. Oops, not Shadow Ball. Tachyon Cutter. Meowstic. Dual Screens. Helping Hand. Urshifu. Sucker Punch. Yamega. Tinted Lens. I think Specs. I should actually calc that to confirm into Keldeo. That crit really sucked, though. I actually wonder, like, that crit may have been a total game changer. I feel like I was so, like, surprised by all the sets, I wasn't even really thinking about it. But, yeah, that was unfortunate. Struggle Bug. It's gotta be, like, Specs, right? Choice Specs. Modest. Crit. Okay. How do I want to adjust? Meowscarada lead. I'm actually down to run it back. I feel like the last game was just so much crazy stuff coming out that I wasn't expecting. But I think it's like, it's fine. Turn 1, I could go fake out shot. I just can't fake Tears. So maybe it's not leading Grimmsnarl actually, and it's leading another thing that allows me to outspeed turn 1. But it's like, yeah, I won't like fall for the Clear Amulet this time around, right? I also don't think the Meowstic has Thunder Wave, which is a really big deal. It's Dragapult Diplin. Okay. Interesting. Diplin here is also not Super Sweet Syrup. Could be Sticky Hold. Gluttony. This is Terra Dragon Dragapult. Terra Dragon Dragapult. I don't know where the Focus Sash is. I could just Thunder Wave turn 1. I could Spirit Break. I guess this could Phantom Force theoretically, but with Terra Dragon that seems kind of weird. I'm gonna Spirit Break Protect here. I want to scout out for Protector Terra. That's so cool. Dragon Cheer Diplin. What? That's nuts. Sash is on Pult. Okay. That's crazy. And Leaf Storm. Okay. I mean, it's probably Eviolite, right? I assume so. I have Spectre here. These sets are so cool. They're fascinating. You're at -2 now. You have a crit rate boost, but still. How much does Spectre do to Diplin? I could Fairy Terra, Draining Kiss. I mean, this should crush Diplin, I think, if I just Fake Tears. Draining Kiss it. Diplin could Terra, theoretically. It's Terra Steel. Okay, no Terra. This should KO then, I think. Phantom Force comes out. Okay, that's fine by me, because I know I can just Spirit Break that slot for a KO. Nice, okay. Dipplin Faints. Dragon Cheer, Phantom Force. Dragon Cheer, Phantom Force. And Dipplin is Leaf Storm. Meowstic comes out. Interesting. We know Phantom Force is coming our way. Your Sash, how much does Phantom Force do to Spectrier? Dragapult. Spectrier, Phantom Force. Terra Fairy. Shouldn't KO us, I don't think. So I think I'm down to just Spirit Break here. Shadow Ball. With Helping Hand, it might KO. If he high rolls. Does KO, okay. I could have switched out Spectrier there. Maybe that was worth it. I wonder if that's... Yeah, I should have contemplated switching. I think it makes sense for his last one to be Urshifu. Could also be that Yanmega. I think it makes sense to go Meowscarada first. Could also go Keldeo. I mean, what else could it be? It could be Iron Crown as well, right? If it's Crown, we probably want Meowscarada to force Terra out first. It's Yanmega, okay. I mean, I feel okay against that. Knowing that Meowstic essentially doesn't do anything. I still think this is choice specs, honestly. It has to be specs, right? How else would Yanmega have done that much damage to me? I just really need to confirm this. Let's see. The question is whether or not you lock Struggle Bug. Grim here's like max HP, max Spadef. So I could get a Fake Tears off before I faint, basically. I could also Spirit Break Protect here. Oh, I don't have Protect. I'll Spirit Break Triple Axle. Here's the Terra. On Yanmega, okay. Terra Bug, yep. Maybe Knockoff here was better then. Reflect goes up, yep. Okay. Three hits. Struggle Bug, yep. Okay. I feel like this is fine, right? You get Spirit Break off. Should do a decent amount. This Yanmega's just so bulky. Like, it's crazy. You're at -1. I'm just not sure Knockoff even KOs this, given that last time it survived. No, it should KO. It should KO. So I think I can go Thunder Wave here. Knockoff. It's Charm! Okay, but that means you can't hit Keldeo. So, assuming your specs, Keldeo wins the 1v1 against Meowstic. This thing is so bulky. This is crazy. Yeah, it's choice specs. Okay. Oh, and he gets parried. Okay. Well, now I know you... Yeah, Meowstic literally can't do any damage. I think Meowstic's actually more of a liability for him, honestly. I ideally want to get a knockoff into it. But I think here we just go for the KO. Yeah. So cool. Let me just make sure I'm still jotting this down. Yamega. Struggle Bug. Meowstic. Charm. No Thunder Wave and no Psychic is such a big deal, though. This has got to be like max special attack, max defense Yamega or something like that, I think. Yeah, let's just make sure we knock out Yamega here. Another charm. Low-key, Yamega might survive this Spirit Break. Yeah, it crit. That probably... I honestly think Yamega probably survives, but it's fine, because then it's like we just bring out Keldeo, and then KO Yamega, and Meowstic can never win. But this is a crazy set. Like, the sets have been literally nuts. So, yeah. Spirit Break. Let's figure out what item you have. Third Charm comes out. Really cool for Charm to take advantage of my, my typing changing. Mentor. Yep, okay. He's run Mentor basically every week on this, so that makes sense. But fortunately, that's not a relevant item. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we can switch out. So, one thing I can calc for is fake tears and then how much Keldeo does. So what do I think happens in game 3? I think Crown should come back. I actually think Steel Terra Crown was really smart. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes back to Meowstic plus Crown. But then I think I probably want 2 heavy hitters in Meowscarada plus something else. It could even be Meowscarada Ursaluna, honestly. Yeah, I'm just curious how much Secret Sword does here. That does nothing. Well, that answers my question. Spirit Break actually doing good damage there. Yeah, let's see if another one KOs. I think it could be... So yeah, like, basically, like, I actually think he should drop Meowstic because it's such a liability if I, like, keep it around. Now that I know its full moveset. I mean, I could go Trick Room in game 3 and just bring Ursaluna. Like, that's a possibility. I wonder if he was expecting Trick Room, honestly. Terra Bug Yamega, Terra Dragon Pult, Terra Steel Crown, Terra Poison Ursh. And Ursh is not Focus Sash, which is also a big deal. Okay. Oh my goodness, these sets are just crazy. I'm glad the Dragon Share ended up not, like, messing us up that last game. That could have been really scary if he got the crit. I've gone Grim Spectre both games, so he should adjust to it, right? Like, Crown Ursh. Honestly, leading Yamega would be kind of fire on his end. This thing's really good. I think I want to lead Meowscarada. It's so good offensively. I think I might... I don't know. Grim's support is still good, though. Thunder Wave gets Para. Spirit Break is good damage. If I lead Meowscarada and Spectre, though, you can only set up one of your screens, which I think is kind of a big deal. It could also be Meowscarada Keldeo. I think I like Meowscarada Spectre. Keldeo. I'm actually thinking Ursaluna here, honestly. Instead of Grimmsnarl. I don't think I want Cress. I think Trick Room is also a possible angle in this one, but if I were like the more standard Trick Room, I would be going with it. I'm not as confident because this isn't Flame Orb Ursaluna, and he's obviously super physically defensive. Do I want to drop Grim? It means no Thunder Wave, no fake tears. Yeah, I think I'm down to bring Ursa. Win or lose, it's been one really fun set. Viz came up with some crazy ideas, and they're so cool to see. At this point, I do feel like I have so much information, which is good. It's mainly just surprise moves that I'm worried about. But knowing the full moveset on Meowstic is a really big deal, in my opinion. Dragapult Meowstic. Okay, new lead. No fake out on you. You could obviously Dragon Cheer. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. This could be a substitute turn 1, actually. This could Dragon Terra Dragon Darts. I'd probably set up Reflect if I were him. Dragon Terra Darts wouldn't KO me, though, and he has no speed control if I knock out Polt. So I'm leaning towards just trying to KO Dragapult turn 1 with the double up. Yeah, I think I'm down to go knockoff here. Draining Kiss. Because, like I said, I actually think Meowstic, like, being out on the field is fine. This could be Phantom Force is the thing. It's Breaking Swipe. Okay, fine by me. Cool. So Meowscarada goes for knockoff here. We KO. Okay. One thing to think about, by the way, is because I brought the Ursaluna, it does mean that the Meowstic can charm me, but I think that's fine. I think the main debate there is, do I knock out Meowstic, only let you get 1 screens up? I actually don't think screens are like the end of the world for us in this matchup. The Omega comes out now. Probably just wants to struggle bug. Obviously, this could Helping Hand. I have knockoff available to me right now. And with this being so slow, like I'm leaning towards Protect here. I don't even know if I need to Protect, honestly. Like, how much does Helping Hand plus an attack do to us, right? Yamega into Spectrier. If I Terra Fairy... Tinted Lens. Shouldn't KO us, I don't think, after I heal. Okay, I'm gonna go knock off Fairy Terra Draining Kiss. I think maybe it was fine to just Protect knockoff here, though, honestly. Well, if you go Terra Bug and Helping Hand, hold on. Now this becomes interesting. The question is whether or not you Helping Hand here. Because I will remove the... It is Helping Hand. But I will remove the specs. So the question is, did you Bug Buzz? Oh, or we could just KO. Okay. Nice. I didn't think that would KO, but yeah, Yamega clearly is like max defense. Max defense, max special attack would be my guess on its EV spread. But I think we should be good then. Crown is the last one, but I can just Shadow Ball you, knock off you. Meowstic can Charm. I'm Dark, though. We know it's Clear Amulet. There's no reason to not just double up here, right? Knock off. Cool. Yeah, I feel like once I downloaded the sets, I felt pretty good about this one. But it was really close, honestly. I mean, game 2, I think I would have won even without the Para. I would have lost both Mons, but I think Keldeo just beats the Omega and then beats the Meowstic in a 1v2. And now I can just knock off into you, Shadow Ball into Meowstic. Awesome team building by Viz, though. I mean, this is what Draft League's all about. Like, every set was absolutely crazy. It was literally none of the abilities I expected on anything. But yeah, shoutouts to Spectre for just clutching the knockout there against the Omega. I didn't think I would actually get the KO there. I'm curious if it ended up being Bug Buzz that turn onto the Spectre slot. But I think the reality is no attack Meowstic is really, really exploitable. It's honestly kind of like how I've lost with no attack Grimmsnarl in this league. So yeah, I feel like once I saw that Meowstic didn't have any attacks, I was like, okay, well, you also don't seem like you have Protect on a lot of your Pokemon. Like, nothing basically protected this set. So it meant that I can attack a little bit more confidently. But yeah, I figured, like, some really incredible counterplay, honestly, with sets like... And the Dragon Share, I think, makes a lot of sense as well, because it allows you to crit through Grimmsnarl screens, which I think is really clever. If Grim got crit on turn 1, maybe this game looks differently as well. Although we survived the Leaf Storm... Yeah, so even if you crit me there, I think I would have still survived. But either way, it's GG's. That was a really, really cool team and really cool prep by Viz. But happy to nab the win, finish 6-2. That means we get a top 4 slot, which means we skip the first round of playoffs, which is nice. I could definitely use a break. But yeah, we now are guaranteed top 8 in the league, and we'll be back in playoffs. After that win, the Melbourne Rotoms finished in 4th place out of 20 teams in the regular season, which means that we actually get to skip the first round of playoffs, while seeds 5 through 12 end up playing for a spot in top 8. I am ultimately okay with the outcome here. I'm like happy to get a bye, but I also wish I finished a little bit higher in the regular season. I think the week 6 loss is what really stands out, because it was an 0-2 loss and I got completely obliterated. But I also think that it was a necessary loss because I learned a ton from it, and it helped me improve some of the fundamental structural issues with my team. And Staraptor, Meowscarada, and Keldeo were all Pokemon that I brought in week 7 and 8 and were instrumental in the victories that we had. And so I feel a lot better about my overall draft now. I'm eager to see how it can carry on in the playoffs. But thank you for supporting us throughout the regular season. We get to skip the first round of playoffs, but of course we'll be back with top 8 soon. So thanks for watching this Omega long video, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.